Okay, you can pause on IXL, we'll pick up on it tomorrow. Okay, I told y'all we're gonna do a project, a new one. We just finished our Heber project. I'll let y'all present those. I'm planning on Wednesday. We have to do our little small argumentative test tomorrow. That's why you look at me like that.
Test.
So, we're getting close to milestones, so we're spiraling back, going back through things, okay? We're gonna do a rather quick review on writing a narrative, and we're gonna do it with something you've done in social studies, okay? And then we'll do our little mini unit on what you all know is grammar, using words the right way, but it's called conventional standards in English. That will start later this week. Okay, should have taken care of that. So my question for you is, what is a narrative? Go ahead. Okay, so we're writing, when we write our own story, okay? You can, when it comes to milestones, you can write from another perspective of the character in the book, you can continue a story, or you can make up your own story completely. And here today, you're gonna make up your own story completely, but there's gonna be a specific object you have to use, okay? So we know what a narrative is. It has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has to have dialogue. It has to have some type of conflict. It has to have some sort of theme, right? Okay. Now, what continents have you studied in Mr. Craft's class next door, social studies?
The ones that are
Latin
have
South America, North America, and Europe.
Latin America,
Yeah, Latin
Europe,
America.
Canada, right?
Latin America's a continent.
Those are the,
Oh
those-
my God.
well, those are the areas of the world that you have studied, according to Mr. Craft, right? So my challenge for you is you're going to write a narrative. You have to pick one of those areas. Again, Latin America, Canada, or Europe. You have to pick one of those, you and your partner. You will do this with a partner, okay? You all have to do a group of three for today since Bailey's not here, okay? You will pick an area of the world that you have studied in social studies so far this year, okay? You will pick any time period in that area. Whatever time period, if it's the 1500s if you want to, okay? Before some of these places even truly exist, okay? And you're gonna write a narrative, but here's where it gets challenging. You have to do research on your time period and find one specific object
That's
that was useful in that time period. And then you're gonna write your narrative based on that object, okay? So the first thing you're gonna have to do is discuss with your partner, what area do you wanna do? What time period, okay? Then you're gonna have to do some research on that area and that time period, correct? When you're doing research, what are you looking for?
an object.
An important object, okay? An important object. For example, in America at one point, a small little peanut
Telegram.
was very important and used for so much. Anybody know who did that?
George Washington Carver.
George
Officer
Washington
Carver.
Carter, not Officer Carter. They did not know that make things with peanuts, okay? But do you know, those of y'all, raise your hand if you know about George Washington Carter. You should, I'm pretty sure that's something you learned about in elementary school, right? How important, how changing
He made peanut
was
butter.
that peanut?
It was very important.
Very
It
important.
made the peanut way better. Yes,
So-
it did make peanut butter. He made so much stuff with peanuts, it's like not even imaginable.
You made all kind of stuff with peanuts, okay? So think about that. When you go looking for an object in your time period, in your place, I want you to think about George Washington Carver and the peanuts, okay? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a prop. It may be something as simple as a writing utensil. Yes.
Could our store, so our store.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
All right, listen to me.
Google said it.
listen to me. Stay with me. We can argue about the peanut later after class, okay? Patton had a good question. He said, can it be fictional? Can we make it up? We're writing a narrative, right? So we're making it up. So here's what your narrative is. It is a historical fiction narrative, okay? You are going back in time, in that time period, you're finding that important object, and you and your partner are coming up with a story that shows the importance of that object back in history. But again, historical fiction. Is this story going to be completely true? No, it's not going to be true at all, because you didn't even exist back then, okay? So you and your partner have to think outside the box here. With that object, how did that object affect that place in that time period? Yes?
Do the characters in the narrative have to be in your partner?
No, the characters do not have to be you and your partner, okay? The characters can be whatever characters y'all make up, but with it being a narrative, we have to make sure there's some type of what between characters. Conflict doesn't have to be between characters.
Dialogue.
There gotta be some dialogue, okay? Now, could your dialogue, let's say you had one character, right? Let's pretend like it's George Washington Carver. He's the only character in our story about this peanut, okay? And all of his dialogue is his thoughts to himself about what he can do with this peanut. It's his creative genius going off about this peanut, okay? So, what's the first step?
Figure out what place we're gonna do.
Figure out what place you're gonna do. It has to be somewhere that you talked about in social studies, okay? Second step, figure out what,
Object.
no,
Characters.
nope,
Time.
time period, okay? No, you didn't.
You said
You said object and
place.
character.
I said place.
Oh, I apologize, Pat.
George Washington Carver made.
Yes,
There was actually a lot of big changes.
We're not there yet, okay? After we pick our place and our time period, what must we pick?
Object.
How do we find an object? By doing what? By doing research, okay? What I don't want is I don't want you arguing with your partners about what we're doing, okay? Talk about it. Come up with what place between the two of you was the most interesting that you talked about in Mr. Kraft's class. What time period do y'all find interesting? Yes, sir.
I did not know that George Washington Carver did not make peanut butter. He made over
Again, what argue
125 and
about peanuts and George Washington Carver? Actually. All right, raise your hand when you can hear me.
Those peanuts.
We can argue about peanuts and peanut butter and George Washington Carver afterwards. Now, here's the last step you're gonna do once you find your place, pick your time period, identify your object. Again, you're writing a narrative that shows the importance of that object. And then on a piece of paper, you probably won't get this day. You're gonna come up with a scaled plan for a 3D model of that object. Okay. So let's think of, I'll give an example. I think it was when I was in third grade. We had to do medieval times in Miss Phillips' class. Maybe, no, that wasn't third, that was second grade. And you wouldn't know Miss Phillips. And I had to build a catapult. Okay? So I did it out of some wooden blocks, a plastic spoon, and a rubber band. And I thought I was the coolest person in the world.
Did you get to shoot your teacher with it?
No, we had to destroy a wall with it. Yeah, it was.
Did it work though?
Yes, it did work. I also had to build a garderobe.
You didn't destroy your friend.
Totally. Okay, now it has. All right, so you may begin with your partners discussing, okay? Discussing, researching, coming up with a plan for the narrative, okay? And go.
Wait, is our partner beside us?
Your partner is your shoulder partner.
Is our beside us?
No.
Peanut butter. No, he didn't. Oh, no, no, he didn't. I asked your person.
And what,
Maybe that's. Oh, what?
See, I already have But I'm not gonna argue. I don't know. I'm gonna call it face. It's a 14,000.
All right, raise your hand when you can hear me. Once you and your partner have decided what it is that you're doing, just one partner, one of you, not both of you, come up here and let me know the time, the place, the time period, and the object, okay? And then I'll. Raise your hand when you can hear me, okay? I think I need to clarify again exactly what you're researching, okay? You're not just looking for inventions in a place, okay? You're not just looking for inventions during the time period, Eston, stay with me. You are looking for an important object in a specific time period in a specific place, okay? You get to pick anywhere you want to out of locations y'all talked about in social studies. You get to pick any time period in those locations. Your object, you get to pick any object that was important to that place during that time, okay? Important to that place during that time. You can be something as simple as, like if you had America that was one of the options. The object, flag, was very important to America, it still is, but during a certain time period, it became really important, okay? Find something that was important to that place in that time.
Girl, they came across the
yeah, but the only South.
Christopher, yes.
And,
Yeah, they said, doctor, they said, I think we're gonna
Wait, just a sec. Y'all got places out there? All right, who's your partner? Shoulder partner. Because I said that. Shoulder partner.
Yes,
Shoulder.
yes.
Please. Y'all have a pleasure. Where? Yeah? And when?
No. Oh, yeah. Even though you got even though you got well, I really don't have it around that. But somewhere like that. Somewhere. They so
Yeah. Somebody.
it's called. I gotta see what you're Oh my God. I just like info. What? Oh wow. Let's see the card info for sale, huh?
That's why we not. That's a great question. You all got a question?
Let's call it how we can. Wait. Oh, well, that's so nice.
So